So you know how Cyberpunk, one of the key features for me, especially with the game, and it was the music.
Mm-hmm.
So if Maine in that universe had a favorite track, what would it be?
Ooh. In that universe, based off the soundtrack?
Yeah.
I go with the one that I downloaded, in which they had a great companion video. Was Sorry I Let You Down. Yeah, that track was just like, I heard the music and then I saw the story behind it. I was like, wow. And yeah, and that's what happens to Maine, you know, when he has a cyberpsycho and he should have been to hold everything together. And yeah, it's like, I let you down. So, yeah.
When Maine goes cyberpsycho, he kills a few people except David.
Mm-hmm.
You got into the character. Why do you think you didn't go after David? Why do you think you just...
I mean, yeah, because when I first saw the animation, I thought he was responsible for shooting Dario, and it wasn't him. She got hit by a straight bullet. I think there was still, he had those moments where he was going in and out, like he could still recognize friend and foe at some point. So, yeah, he had a moment where David walks in the room and he just goes off reflex and shoots. Like if he would have popped him, he wouldn't have shot him because he was David. It was just like, oh, I'm still under threat, bang. And he comes in, he said, oh, it's you. And they had that moment. So, yeah, he still recognized who David was. They have that moment where they talk. It's just like, you know, he's hallucinating, but he still recognized the people that he cares about. So I think that was, you know, him in between those worlds, because as he's thinking, he's putting her on a funeral pyre. He's putting her up there. So yeah, he has his own reality at that point, but he still recognizes the people he loves and cares about. So that's why I think he didn't shoot him.
When you got chosen to voice Jax in Mortal Kombat, did you try to add your own flair to the character, or did you get any inspiration from previous voice actors who voiced him in like video games and movies before him?
Okay, so I say Jax came with a certain amount of weight to it because so many actors have played him. I always thought about Carl Weathers when they incorporated his character into Mortal Kombat since he lost his arms in Predator. It's like, okay, that was kind of genius. But for me, when I got the sides, I didn't know it was Jax. They give you like some fictional sides, like they just wrote up some dialogue and they said the character was Sergeant. So I was like, okay, it's military. I did serve in the military, so I just took some of that military background and you know, remember my drill sergeant and all that stuff, and read the role. It was like authoritative, commanding, you know, heroic and things like that. So I didn't even know it was Mortal Kombat until they told me it was cast, because the script, what they sent me for the audition, it said like, it was 7-Eleven. That's what they said. I was like, 7-Eleven, huh? I know it's a fake name. I don't know what this game is, but okay. But then you got cast, it's like, so the title they want you to know is Mortal Kombat 11. I was like, Mortal Kombat? Who am I playing? You playing Jax.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get that kind of effect. But yeah, after that, and the script itself, man, it was like a movie script. It's like 120 pages. You can look at the lore, the mythos from Mortal Kombat. It's dense. It's dense. So it wasn't a lot of, I didn't have to do a lot of imagining. Everything I needed was on the page. They told me Jax is like basically what he'd been through from the previous ones. It's an older Jax right now. He's suffering from PTSD. You know, he's got a daughter, a strange relationship with his daughter he hasn't spoken to. She's a soldier. And then he's got this, you know, he's kind of like paying for his sins. He's got a revenant character. So I was like, wow, okay. Emotionally, there's a lot of weight here. So just kind of lean into that. And you know, if you're meeting a younger version of yourself, what that question comes up, you know, you have a chance to talk to the younger version of yourself, what would you say to them? And vice versa, the younger version seeing the older version, like, man, you really, you know, how does that relationship play off of one another? So, yeah.
You did the Final Fantasy remake?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 7, yeah.
Was that difficult? Because I'm not familiar with, I think I played the first game, but it's been a while.
Came out.
Huh?
When it came out?
Yeah. So
Okay.
How was that? Like, okay, you're stepping into a role that was already pretty much established.
Well, when the original came out, there was no spoken dialogue. I mean, it was all just, all it was typed. The only time you ever really heard, Rude and Reno speak was the Abbott Children movie. So, excuse me. As somebody who was working at, EB Games before it was EB Games, when the original came out, I mean, that was just like wow, because I remember watching the trailer when Final Fantasy dropped, and I'd be at work and people would be like, yo, these people need to be ranged out, and I'm like, oh yeah. So that was real surreal to get that Rude, to get the role as Rude. I don't think it necessarily came with a lot of weight for me emotionally. It was just like, hey, I'm stepping into a legacy franchise, but I actually get a chance to voice this character. And they had descriptions of like, I think I remember when the casting notes came through, it was like, they were imagining like Vin Diesel's voice or something like that, a deeper timbre. I was like, well, yeah, I'm not doing Vin Diesel. I'm gonna do Slim Diesel. I'm gonna give you the best, the best that I can give you, and it worked. It worked for them. I just took a look at the character specs, and I actually looked at the art style that they sent in the audition. I was like, I think I know this art style. I think I know what this is. I'm not gonna think about it too much because that might throw me off. But yeah, I gave my best in rendition of the character, and here I am.
Jax, the role itself, well, it had a lot of emotional weight to it.
Yeah.
But it was a character that was already kind of established in a franchise. If there's more emotional weight, or you're playing a character that is already very well established by a franchise, is there more or less pressure on you to deliver a performance that, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe more than anything the fandom appreciates? Because as we all know, that's why we're here, video game fandoms are among the most passionate and vocal in the entire world. They will let you know if they love something, and they will let you know if they don't love something.
Right. I think for me, because they had already like chosen me, it was like, I'm Jax.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Jax. You evidently you got in hundreds of auditions. You picked me, so clearly I got something that you thought I fit the character. So that pressure was kind of off.
So that's a confidence boost then, right there, just getting the nod.
It's off my shoulders, and it's like, all right, so let's lean into what you brought during that audition and really flesh this guy out. And I think it was just me at this point. It's like, let me do my work the best that I can as William Christopher Stevens, and inhabit this role as best as I can, and think about emotionally what's going on with that character, and just bring it, and let them direct me, guide me if I'm off. But so doing that, I just wanted to say, okay, now that part, you guys work out the play mechanics and all that other stuff. I don't want to be in the Mortal Kombat series that sucks.
Right.
Nobody wants to be in the sucky edition. So yeah, that was really it. And they brought it. And to hear that, fans kind of embraced me, I was like, cool. I would see stuff online. Like I remember somebody did a whole mock-up with Terry Crews as Jax. And I remember reaching out to Dominic, who was he's like the director and everything. He works over at Netherworld now, or Netherrealm. I was like, hey man, you guys aren't thinking of going a different direction. That was the only time when the insecurities, I was like, he is Terry Crews, so I mean, if you pick him, I'm not mad.
Right.
If I'm gonna get beat by somebody, he's like, nah man, it's still you. I was like, all right, cool.
When you do a character like Maine, what type of direction were you getting?
I remember Wendy, they give you the script, and I had the advantage also seeing some scenes, so they could kind of show us what was going on, because a lot of stuff was already animated, and it really, she gave us room to play, but also because that was a dub, we had to match the lip syncs too. So if the writing's good, it'll kind of speak for itself. You'll kind of know the mood and things like that. Sometimes we don't get a chance to see the whole script, so she'll give us context of what's going on in the scene. And if we're off a beat or something like that, she'll kind of fill us in emotional state. But yeah, as I think with most things, if the writing is good, the director, you know, doesn't have to do much directing. You know, they're just there to offer guidance if you're off track. So
I imagine, especially if you can sink your teeth into a character and you kind of do your thing, bring it to life as you see it brought to life.
yeah. I mean, they kind of already know when they pick you from your audition,
Right.
Like if you got it, and then they'll give you a little framework. But yeah, when you dial in on a character, they know that they can trust you, and you won't go too far off. And usually, let's say if I work on I'll say another thing was Back for Blood, because I'm a big fan of a game called Left 4 Dead, if you're familiar with that. Yeah, it's a game I spent up many nights up late with groups of people just playing. So when I got Back for Blood, which is like the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, I already know this world.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to like tap it down. A little kid was like, let me go. So, you know, to get to a point where it's like, they don't have to direct you, know the world already, know kind of what's going on. So when you're doing your call, I said, boomer over there, and, you know, grenade and all the other fun stuff. Yeah, you're just having fun with it and getting the technical stuff out of the way. But you can say, well, if they give you the script, and again, if it's well written, you already have enough there. But sometimes you'll get the inspiration in the booth, and you'll give them one for them as it's written, and say, hey, I had an idea. You mind if I try something? And if they trust you, yeah, they'll let you try it, and they'll let you know if it works or it doesn't. When it starts working, you know, they say, oh man, I like that. You know, we're gonna keep that one. So, yeah.
Cool.
Out of all the, like, what are some of your favorite characters that you voiced with all the years you've been voice acting and stuff like that?
I like the great stories, man. I like doing Conrad from Walking Dead, being a fan of that whole franchise, that universe. Conrad, of course, Jax and Rude, Maine, Walker. Ooh, that's yeah, I got to think of the ones. Yeah, Back for Blood still shares a special place because that was so. I got a chance to put my stamp on that. It's kind of a toss-up, man. It's really hard to pick, like, this is my favorite. But again, if I had to, it would be Maine, Cyberpunk. Again, I just love that character arc. And it was just so well written. And it gave me a chance to do something I hadn't done before.
What was your favorite role?
To date, you might have heard me say it, Maine. It was, you know, playing Maine in Cyberpunk. Just because of the story, and had a really great director with Wendy Lee. She helped to bring out the best in, I think, all the actors as far as performance-wise, and it kind of gave me a chance to cut loose. So, yeah.
Do you have any, like, fellow voice actors you would potentially might want to work with in the future, or any that you worked with already that you would like to maybe work on something together with?
Ooh. I think everybody on the floor right now, as I'm getting to know the actors, like, yeah, cool vibing with people. So just about everybody that came to the con, I would like to work with. Mike Gunn, who worked on Silent Hill. Yeah, that's a game that I played back in the day when it came out, and I told him I could only play it one time. It was that freaky. Yeah, Resident Evil's another title that I think, you know, I would like to be a part of, that universe, because that was another game that kind of just changed the whole face of video gaming. Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, those are, so Final Fantasy's covered now. Trying to think off the top of my head. Oh man, there's so many wonderful voice actors that I like to work with. Okay, Keith David.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith David. I kind of geeked out on him. I got a chance to work on a Thing version of a Thing. If you're familiar with John Carpenter's The Thing, they did a pinball version that's now on Xbox. and they needed somebody to do Childs. And I actually was able to book that role. It's like one of my favorite movies. So I think I was able to kind of capture that essence for the character. And it went to Universal Movies Studios, and they picked him. So that was something I geeked out over, being a fan of that movie. So yeah, Keith David, I'd love to work with him on the title. That'd be cool.
You've had a handful of like these really cool full circle moments where, you had your mind blown when you booked Mortal Kombat, when you found out it was Mortal Kombat, Final Fantasy, you kind of got this nod, talking about just now with the Keith David thing.
Yeah.
Do those ever lose their luster? Because, I mean, you've had a handful happen to you. I imagine each of them are special in their own way, but do moments like that, I don't know, do they continue to just strike you and you kind of shake your head and you're just kind of like, this is insane, like this journey you've been on?
Just like, hey, well, it's just like, okay. Those little benchmarks, and I'm grateful for those opportunities and just getting a chance. Okay, so you're in this category now, or stuff that you grew up playing. That's just like, you get off that game. You on there? How many hours you been playing? Yeah. I laugh about that now because like, remember they always tired those days, like you get off the game, you work to do and stuff. It's like you made it pay off. I made it pay off. Yeah, those moments just reflecting and just being grateful and feeling blessed. Like, man, you got a chance to do some things that you never thought you'd be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just those moments, being thankful. Mm-hmm. They don't lose their luster, because anytime anything gets hard or difficult, I can go back to that. I would say that to anybody in this, because my career started in voiceover. I got my agent and things like that. Just taking a lot of workshops and just doing the work you do as an actor. I started off really big. I'll share the story. Why not? First thing I booked out the gate was Ultimate Spider-Man.
Wow.
That animated series. I'm a Marvel fan.
This is in LA, when you moved to LA?
Yeah, when I got my voiceover agent, I think it was 2011. Booked that out the gate. It was the first thing I booked. And I was like, this is how my career is gonna start. Wow. And I was playing Nick Fury. So all that stuff that I knew, that world, watched the films, was like, let me go. Just let's go. And I booked it. I booked it. Hundreds of actors auditioned for that. I remember going in the studio first day and meeting Kevin Feige and the whole brass, everybody. And they're like, these roles are yours. Hard part's done. You earned it. Just have fun playing. And I was in the studio with like Tom Kenny, SpongeBob. Any given day, I would walk in that room and there would be somebody I grew up listening to. And I was like, I'm in a esteemed company here. And was just like nervous, like, all right, man, just relax, do what you came to do. Like, don't suck. Like, just relax and do the work. And I had a difficult moment starting out, and cast director pulled me to the side, like after our first session, it's like, you seem a little off, there's something off. Whatever you did in the audition, I need you to bring that back. And I was nervous, like, I thought I was doing what I needed to do. So I remember locking myself in a room for like a weekend, pulled out all the Marvel movies that Sam was in, all the other stuff. I was like, I gotta dial this back in. Did the whole weekend just doing the work, and coming back like the following week, it's like, I don't know what else I can do. If I ain't got it now, they're probably gonna cut me loose. But I was like, I remember finishing the session, she was like, whatever you did, thumbs up. I was like, whew. Okay, I still got a job. And then I did 9 episodes of that. And this is the same time when Disney had just bought Marvel for $4 billion. So I was booked for a 10th episode, and I was going to a commercial audition. My agent called me, pulled over. I was telling the boy, she's like, I'm having a really bad day. I was like, okay, pull over. I was like, what's up? She was like, I want you to know first, it's nothing that you did. And when those words come out, it's like, uh-oh. All right, just tell me what's going on, Michaela. It's like they're taking you off the project. I was like, I just got booked for a 10th episode. She said, the Marvel, they have a boss now since Disney bought out Marvel. And that guy has made a decision, wants to replace you with another actor. It's like, all right, she said they fought for you. There's nothing they can do. Right? Okay. What now? It was just one of those, that was a dark moment in my career. It's just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore now. It was like one of those things that it hit me right here. I was like, how can I get this far up? Like, tell me this like after the first or second day when I thought I might get fired. It's like, I'm on 9 episodes. I just got booked for a 10th. We're going to do this. And now it's like, yeah, I understand. That's just the business. And it told me that day, it was like, all right, even when you think, you know, things are going right and you didn't, and I just like got fired from my regular job because I was actually auditioning, you know. So I was like, all right, God, what are you trying to tell me? And it was in that moment, it's just like, you got to make a decision. It's like, why are you doing this? And I would say it for anybody. Why are you doing this? Why do you put up with this part of it? It's like, because you love it. There's something in you that loves acting, loves creating, loves doing these characters. You love it. Business part is business. It's nothing personal unless somebody makes it personal. You know, because I thought about all the stuff I could do. I was like, man, I got all these scripts. I'm just going to release them on the internet. that vengeful part, it's like, nah, it's stupid, dude. It's not you. And what ended up coming out of that was, you know, it made me that much stronger, that much more resilient. You know, you take that aspect. It's like, there are going to be other days like this. But you have to remember your love for it. And you got the job. It wasn't your inability to perform while they yanked you. It's just things happen. And yeah, that boss that was with Disney at the time, he doesn't work for him anymore because he kept getting in the way of Marvel, so he got fired at some point. I say all that to say, doing that, you know, I ended up still getting a small part in the Avengers movie later on. And I had to think about that. So, see, what if you would have, you know, showed your butt and went out and did all that stupid stuff? It's like, you got a chance to meet the brass and stuff. And because you handled it professionally, you didn't let your emotions get in the way. You just kept positive and kept going forward. You know, they know who you are. They got the tape. And when you audition, you got that speaking part in there. So, yeah, again, that's another full circle moment. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't let the business aspect. I got told by a casting director years ago when I came to LA, the happy actor gets the part. So whatever you have to do to have a life outside of the business, it's like, you know, whether you garden or, you know, some people start a family, get a dog, have something else that you can look forward to at the end of the day, because the business part of it can chew you up, eat you up, spit you out. You know, don't let it steal your joy. Don't let it destroy you, break your heart, because there's going to be days like that, man. You just have to remember why you got into this business, why you love doing what you do. So, that's,
well said.
Sure.
Well said. And I imagine there's also an element of controlling the controllables and letting go of what you can't, because that decision was completely out of your control.
Yeah, yeah. It's the only thing you really have control over is how you react, how you respond. Not so much react, because the reaction was anger, pissed off.
Let's leak the scripts.
Yeah, I need to find a way to get back at them.
Right.
Yeah. It was, all you really have control over is you. You know, the business is so intangible. You know, somebody could owe somebody a favor. You could have been the best person in the room, like, well, you told my client so-and-so that they would get the next role, and that goes to somebody else. Or nepotism, maybe they have a son or a daughter or somebody, they're gonna work, you know. Just keep at it. And if you're good and you maintain the right attitude, eventually, you know, you will get your break. Just don't let it break you. Mm-hmm. Diamonds are formed under pressure. So, you know.
What are you playing nowadays?
When I get off the plane, I'll probably go back and play this game called, what is it? Tower, shoot. It's an RPG, and my mind just blanked on it. It's still like in the game preview stage. and another game called War Tales. Again, I like the tactical RPG stuff. So something about War Tales that I really like. Some other stuff is on my game queue to play. I know Final Fantasy is coming out for Xbox. See, I'm somebody, I haven't gotten a new PlayStation yet. I'm still on PlayStation 3. I didn't get a 4. So I haven't even played Final Fantasy yet, except for like demos when they let us play. And it's getting ready to come out on Xbox. So yeah, I look forward to actually playing the game.
So how'd you get started in this?
Started, I'm an only child, man. So I grew up playing a lot of games and things, and you know, that natural enthusiasm just kind of carried over. Started acting in high school, and that led to me going to conservatory school for acting in New York. And I finally moved to LA after doing some films and some TV shows in 2001. And I got my voiceover agent in 2010 to 2011. But yeah, things just kind of kicked off right there. So everything that I did as an only child, as far as playing games and stuff, that natural enthusiasm just carried over into the work. And I, you know, sometimes I get told when I go into the booth or when I'm working with directors who do video games, like, we don't get a lot of actors that actually play games. So a lot of those worlds and things, I already kind of knew what they were. Yeah, so that just coupled on the training. So it's like, you know, I let the little kid take over and the big kid handle the professional stuff. That's what I like to think of it. So, yeah.
What were you playing when you were playing video games, and do you still play video games?
Absolutely. I call it homework. Gets
That's
me
awesome.
off the hook.
Yeah.
A lot of RPGs, a lot of role-playing games. You know, I like action and adventure too, but I started playing Dungeons and Dragons like as a kid. So a lot of tabletop stuff just led to just I was like cultivating my imagination. So that grew to me loving to create characters, which you know, segued into acting.
Sure.
So yeah, that's how it got started. But I like RPGs. I like creating the characters. Any game allows you to create your character from the ground up, or as much as possible, customize it. You know,
Kind of like building their story as you go.
Yeah.
You, if I got the timeline right, you moved to LA in 2001.
Right.
Got your voice acting agent in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Were your goals for that decade or so different? Did you have your sights set on strictly acting on camera and not necessarily voiceover? And is this something that just happened?
Yeah, I mean, when I got to LA, I was, you know, I was like, I got an agent so I can get some of these bigger roles and things like that. And then I was doing like stage plays whenever I can, because that's what I come from, doing theater work.
Do you miss theater work? Sorry, quick tangent.
Yeah, I do. I need to do a stage play.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been working with some people, and they'll do play readings and things like that. I actually auditioned for my first stage play since the whole shutdown, and that was this year, getting back to auditioning
Nice.
for plays. Yeah, I miss theater, because that to me was key.
Yeah.
Foundation and being able to call on your imagination and things when you need it.
And no net.
Yeah, no net, man.
You're live.
It's thrilling, live theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I got my voiceover agent, I started taking a lot of workshops in 2009, 2010. Because Batman animated series is what made me want to get into voice acting.
Any character or performer in particular?
I think when I saw Richard Mall do Two-Face, because I used to watch him on Night Court playing Bull, and I was like, that's Bull? Bull. Yeah. So I remember watching that in New York when I was studying conservatory school. I was like, man, there's a career for that, man. And I like animation and cartoons and stuff. So Batman animated series is what made me want to be a voice actor. In case Kevin Conroy was fantastic.
My mind was blown when I found out that was Mark Hamill doing the Joker.
Yeah, man.
Couldn't believe it.
That was another reason. It's like so many great actors were on that show. And I remember getting a chance to take a workshop with Andrea Romano, who cast that. I was like, man, I've been waiting to get in front of you. But yeah, 2010, I was like, I'm going to do my reel. I'm going to find a way to get into it. I got to get into it now.
Yeah.
Because I've been putting it off. So that was just another feather
Right.
in the cap. And yeah.
I heard actors like Gary Oldman has a problem sometimes finding his own voice because he's done so many different characters. How has being a voice actor for so many years changed the way that you listen and speak to other people? Or do you have trouble, or maybe not trouble, but maybe like code switching between like, okay, here's this character, and this character has bled into how I speak or listen to other people?
Oh yeah, Maine definitely hasn't bled into me, but yeah, I found when I started voice acting, it wasn't so much about doing the character voices, but just using your own real voice and finding different aspects of that to express the character. I think when I take on the character, it's just me. The character's going to tell me how it wants me to speak. I find myself auditioning sometimes, and if I can't find that character's voice, like doing it, I was like, yeah, push that to the side. I haven't gotten there yet. And then sometimes you might get an inspiration. It's like, oh, there the character is. There it is. And then I can lean into that. But a lot of it's been discovering my own natural voice and finding this emotional anchor to that character. I didn't really have to push that hard for Maine. I just found it, and I was like, okay, he's definitely bigger than me. You know, what's he been through? Yeah, again, a lot of the stuff was on the page, and when I did the audition, I was like, okay, I feel him. Something's resonating in me, and just let it go. And it's been like that for like the majority of the characters, especially if they had a military background like Jackson and Walker. So I just found it.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by the emotional anchor? I imagine that means it's some depth of feeling tied to the character you're trying to bring to life, but what does looking for that look like?
I look for things I can relate to, like, oh, that aspect of a character. Things I gravitate to, okay, if I get to a certain stage and something's written on the page, what would that feel like, you know? Like for Maine, when I was going through his stuff and getting, like in the audition, I'm trying to remember what the lines were, but, you know, finding his timbre, finding his voice, what's it like to lead a crew like that, and, you know, speaking with David, it was moments just where like, you got laid, didn't you? Didn't you? It was just that father and son relationship there. It's like, this guy's a surrogate father. Yeah, he's a hard, but he's now having a chance to, he sees this kid that reminds him a lot of him, relating in there, and he's looking out for this, like this young pup, and kind of pulling him along, and he does that with all of his crew. Like, so it was hard to see when things got difficult and him turning and losing his mind, you know, like when he knocks Kiwi out and all that stuff, man, and just yeah, and then having a girlfriend, you know, you related to that just as tough as he was, and having that badass relationship was really, you know, you think about moments like that. Yeah, it's just finding those triggers, like, okay, I can latch on to that. Just give me, like, you climbing up a hill and you can find that handhold.
Right.
It's like, if I let go, that can hold me in place right here. That's secure. And if I ever feel like I'm off track, I can go to that handhold.
To tie it back to the character.
Yeah, I can tie it back to the character, and he pulls me back in. So I guess, yeah, that's what I'm referring to, like emotional anchors. I remember Lawrence Fishburne was saying something when he was playing Ike Turner. And he says, you know, I think he was saying, I didn't really get a lot of information out of him, but he said he told him a story when Ike Turner said, you know, he remembered seeing his father basically get kicked to death. This man, like, kicked a hole in his father's stomach over a woman. And that kind of shaped his whole persona, and that's what he went to. Why Ike Turner was the way he was with Tina or whoever he was dealing with. And I said, okay, that was an emotional anchor for him. And he anchored the character to that moment in time. So, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You said you like to do plays. What's your favorite Shakespearean play? Have you ever done that role? A role within
I would like to do Angelo from Measure for Measure. And I haven't had a chance to do it on stage other than for scene work. And Aaron the Moor from Titus Andronicus. Yeah. That. I've done Romeo and Juliet. I played Paris in that. And yeah, I would like to do some more Shakespeare. Yeah. I think every actor might want to try to do Hamlet too, just because it's challenging. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us with this Q&A with William Christopher Stevens, everybody. He will be, of course, at his table if you want to drop by and get an autograph or a picture. I think I saw somebody drop by earlier with a Buster sword, which was pretty cool. So he'll be hanging out for the rest of the day.